Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another episode of In Depth with David. This is Celtics recap number 2, where we are going to be recapping game 1 of the first round series between the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. And today, I'm joined by a new guest, my good friend Trevor. Trevor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm just making sure you don't have like a gun aimed at my window.
Okay, all right. Anyways, let's stray away from stuff like that. But what are your before we get into this game? Just general takeaways without bearing the lead, I guess. Or you can just go, actually, you can go as in-depth as you want, but what do you think of game 1?
So here's the thing. If you hold that Nets team under 110, you can't lose that game. You can't. And you Brooklyn barely plays defense, and you only scored 93 points. That's the issue.
And they have, I think, one of the worst defensive efficiency ratings in history. So, I mean... It's just
Kyrie tried on defense and Harden did too, but Harden was playing with like a broken jersey the whole time. Like Kyrie probably thought the earth was flat again. I think Durant shot like 35% or something, 40% from the field, and you lose that game. You cannot lose that game.
I think that's fair, and I mean this was just like a typical Celtics game from this season where you get your hopes up as a fan, playing a decent first half, and then obviously we have the infamous third quarter, and then you tend to see the team just start to lose and it's not looking good. And then we try and make a little comeback with like 2 minutes left or whatever, and we finally start hitting shots, and then it's just too good to be true. So
see, I felt like a Knicks fan from years before where I always know, regardless of how good the game goes, we will choke it at the end. And
right.
That happened again. Fournier 30%, Tatum 30%, Kemba 31% from the field. Yeah, yes, we desperately miss Jaylen Brown.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You just needed someone instead of Jabari Parker, who gets back cut every play. You can't anticipate the back cut. It was every play. It takes a lot for a team to not just attack Kemba, and they attack Jabari instead.
See, yeah, Jabari's defense has always been a work in progress. It's not making any progress, if you ask me, but
negative progress.
I think, I don't hate the signing when it happened. I mean, it's just like a low risk, high reward move. He's done okay for us. I cringe every time I see him take a jumper. He's better, taking the ball to the rim, but I don't hate it.
The thing is, he should be covering Jeff Green or Joe Harris, not Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that's a bad matchup for him.
Who would shred everyone on the court.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's like, hey, let's not have Kemba or Tatum on the floor. And hey, Jabari Parker, go cover Kevin Durant. That was real smart by Brad. Real smart.
Do you think he played 22 minutes too much? Would you rather see him around the 15-minute mark, Jabari Parker?
So here's the thing is, I want Grant nowhere near the court. So
really?
I hate Grant Williams.
A lot of Celtics fans do.
The thing, if he needs to stretch the floor, and then he bricks every single corner three he takes. I would rather just throw Fournier in the corner. When he played 30 and a half minutes, play him 40 and just throw Fournier in the corner instead of having Grant there. Who would Grant cover on the Nets? He can't cover Durant because he's 6'6".
Right.
So he's James Harden's height, but moves like a center.
Yeah, so
it's
a mismatch defensively.
I'm surprised you didn't see more Romeo or any Romeo. I thought you would see some of him just to kind of throw on Harden.
Yeah, I feel like we've started giving more of his minutes or all of his minutes pretty much to Nesmith. Nesmith at 17.
He should have played more. I think Nesmith should have played more because he actually, hustles all the time.
Right.
Unlike the rest of the team who somehow expects the ball to magically appear in their hands. So, yeah, no. I would like to see more Romeo, if anything, and more Pritchard. I trust Pritchard. Besides the fact that I don't like that every one of his threes are from 6 feet behind the three-point line.
Yeah. I respect the confidence. I don't know. I'd rather him, not do that every possession or all the time.
Kemba played 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Because he had a foul trouble in the first half, right?
He was, and him and Tatum were pretty much non-existent in the second half, which was really disappointing.
Well, I mean, they like doubled Tatum every time and just told Jeff Green, "We don't care if you foul out, slap him in the head." Like,
yeah, I mean,
the
I
thing is,
thought,
you know this. Like Tatum, they're gonna do whatever they can to shut down Tatum. To be honest, I think the biggest key is probably Fournier, because regardless, he's probably covered by either Kyrie or Harden at all times.
right.
And like, I don't trust them to try on defense all the time, even in the playoffs. Or what, you're going against Shamit? If like Shamit can't defend. Like, so I need Fournier to probably give us 20 a game to even consider having a shot.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to, like you said, just lock down Tatum and double team him, if he can't do anything, we're going to get swept. But next best option is, even if he can't do as much as we'd like, having Fournier get going, which he has shown at times this year. I would argue him and Time Warner probably our two most efficient players, shooting percentage-wise. And
Robert Williams is the best player for the Celtics last game. He was the best player.
Right.
It was just his turf toe. You couldn't play him 40 minutes, which is what you might need to play.
For sure.
Like that block he had on the Harden 3, like, how many players in the league can do that? 5, maybe, at his height?
Probably, yeah.
I'll say, though, sneaky bad game from Tristan Thompson, especially defensively. Especially the first half of the first quarter, they would just attack Tristan because how small the Nets play. You can't play Thompson because what are you going to cover Blake Griffin?
Right.
I don't like there's times for Tristan Thompson, but when the Nets aren't even playing DeAndre Jordan, like I don't know how you give him many minutes. I would honestly rather see Ojale get the minutes because at least he can kind of defend KD. Like, what was the rebound differential this game, anyways?
It was 50-40 in favor of Brooklyn, but it seemed like it was a little worse to me watching that game.
I thought it was closer, actually.
It seemed like Brooklyn was getting a lot of, and they got 14 offensive rebounds to our 11. Maybe that's the one I think was a little bit more distant, but they were getting a lot of second chance opportunities, which you know that coming in as a Celtics fan. Like, look, Tristan Thompson's not going to rebound the lights out. Every once in a while, he's good for a double-double. Same with Robert Williams. I mean, he can give you like 10 rebounds max, but you just know that we're going to have trouble securing rebounds.
Yeah, and like against Brooklyn, you just can't give them more chances because when they can space the floor with, like, you can legitimately play a lineup of Kyrie, Harden, KD, Shamit, and Joe Harris.
Right.
And like, hey, you double team Durant. Hey, the best 3-point shooter in the league, Joe Harris, is open in the corner. So it's hard.
And this only happened a couple times in that game, but there was a few plays where we fell asleep on defense. Like, I remember Kyrie off a rebound cutting through the middle and just getting a poke back, and it's like, what can you do at that point?
Yeah, no, it's the Kyrie revenge series. I'm surprised they didn't take over more. But
he had a few highlights. I think he dropped Fournier once.
Fournier fell on his own. I don't care what anyone says. Fournier tripped.
Okay.
Like for me to consider you taking someone down or whatever, you got to make a move. Kyrie drove to the basket and Fournier's leg gave out. That's not breaking him down. It wasn't a top play. I don't even know. I didn't watch Sports Center to see what the top 10 plays were, but I didn't consider him like breaking him down.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, nonetheless, I would say the big three for them definitely got going more in the second half. I think one of them was like 2 for 10 at the half, and then the others, they were all struggling shooting percentage-wise heading into the half. I thought we did a decent job defending them in the first half, not amazing. I don't know. I felt good about the first half, but not great, because you could tell it was only a matter of time until this team was going to get going. But I thought we did decent offensively, not amazing. I prefer this team not to just, and this has been the theme all year, don't just settle for threes immediately, like 4 to 7 seconds in the shot clock. I like it when we drive it more, but I didn't hate this first half from the team.
No, I didn't hate the first half because I thought the defense on Durant was actually great. I don't care that he shot 40%. Like, besides those 2 dunks he had like midway through the first quarter, he really didn't get much easy. Like he had to work for pretty much everything. Everything was as contested as you can with him being 7 foot tall. So like I was not upset with the defense. It's just the lack of offense. That's my real issue is like we shot 36% from the floor.
Right.
Even with this like cold streak we've been on, we've been able to score points most of the time. It's just we need Tatum to score 60 to beat the Spurs. Because it's just like the effort was there in the first half, at least. Like we tried. That's a positive. There's been like that Chicago game, we didn't even try.
Right.
We lost by like 25. Like we tried. But like it's hard because I have no confidence in this team winning a game, to be honest. I don't. Unless one of them gets hurt, KD, Kyrie, or Harden.
I
originally said Nets in 5. I did. But this was their bad shooting game. You needed to beat them, and you lost still.
Yeah, I think they just dusted off all the cobwebs, and it's probably just going to be home cooking from this point for Brooklyn. And we saw a preview of that in the second half. It just, you knew, like, as soon as they were starting hitting their shots in the third quarter, there was just nothing the Celtics could do.
But, like, when you look at the shooting percentage, like, KD, 40, Joe Harris, 36, Harden, 38. Like, yeah, Kyrie shot 55%, but three of their 4 best shooters were under 50% shooting.
Right.
And, like, you didn't win. Like, that's not going to happen again. Like, again, I know some people give Kemba crap for that game. Yeah, he had some foul issues. If you breathed on James Harden too much, they gave him 3 free throws. So, like, is what it is. Harden loves drawing those fouls. I mean, my issues really come with, like, Marcus Smart jacking up threes. I hate it.
Well, he was one of the reasons we stayed in that game for a while.
Yeah, but I still hate seeing Marcus Smart take 8 threes in a game.
I mean, do we have much of a choice, though, if they're shutting down Tatum?
Because, he took twice as many threes as Tatum and Fournier.
Yeah, but if they can't get going, I mean, if we go down the totem pole, it's if Tatum's shut down, you got to look for Kemba, then probably Fournier, and then would you probably say Smart's the third option after that? So Kemba, Fournier, Smart.
I mean, are we saying 3-point only, or can I put Time Lord there? I would put Time Lord ahead of Smart.
As a scoring
threat. Just lob it up to him every time. Okay. I think that's there this series. It is. Like, if you assume that KD will just follow Tatum around wherever he is on offense, if you put Tatum in the corner, you have the lob to Time Lord. It's there all game. Because Blake Griffin can't really jump anymore. And I don't know about Claxton, really. I don't trust him to defend it. I would just lob it up to him all the time. Like, I remember the play in the fourth quarter where Tatum lobbed it to him when he got double teamed. Like, I would rather do that than Smart jack up terrible threes like a college kid.
Yeah, I mean, I like the plays to Williams. I thought those were good finds in the paint. As for the Smart stuff, yeah, I'd rather him stray away from attempting to take over, but I will give him credit in at least this game and keeping us in it for that long. He took
in the third quarter. He was good in the third. He kept it from being a 40-point blowout.
Right. I mean, it's just some nights he's going to be great. Some nights it's going to be inconsistent, and I don't like taking a chance, but he had a solid game. It's just his biggest thing is sometimes he tries to shoot his way out of a slump, so he'll keep hucking up threes, and then, I'm bound to make one, and then he'll keep missing. So that's what
it's like me when I play a horse, except for mine never falls. And for him, 1 out of every 12 falls, and then he makes 6 in a row. Like, it's for me though, it's like if you play through Robert Williams more, you get his passing involved more. Like, he only had 1 assist. If you can play through Robert Williams, it might work this series. And make them maybe play Claxton more, or maybe make them play Jordan. which then you can put Tristan in.
Right.
Like if DeAndre Jordan comes in, I put Tristan Thompson immediately. Go classic center on classic center. But like, just how much can Williams play right now with the toe injury?
You could see it affecting him in the fourth quarter too. On one play, he was walking around gingerly. How many minutes did he play? Let me see.
23.
You might need to push that to 30 if you can.
Because like the thing is like, you even look at how Durant played when Williams was out there. Like he settled for jumpers when he would have driven on anyone else.
Right.
Like 9 block shots in 23 minutes. There
Very
was
close.
one of them when he pushed Claxton to the ground and got away with it. Yes. But
Still.
9 blocks still.
Nearly a triple-double in 23 minutes.
He almost had a triple-double with blocks.
I mean,
He changed the game defensively.
Do you think that's enough to propel him into the starting lineup? I would put him in. I don't think you have anything to lose.
I think the issue just is how many minutes can he play. Like if he can only play 23 minutes, you have to save the minutes.
Right.
Because I mean Tatum came out firing at the start. Tatum was the best player in the first half.
3 for 3 immediately, quick 7 points in the first quarter,
Yeah, like
15, 16 in the half.
I hate this dude. I think he's terrible at basketball, but I think you have to consider playing Cornette if Williams can only play 23 minutes. Just to stretch the floor. And does Cornette brick as many shots as Grant Williams? Yes, but it's something.
He's a decent rim protector, too. You got to give him that.
No, he's not.
He is.
I could dunk on him.
If
I could jump 4 feet in the air, I could dunk on him.
I'm not saying he's amazing, but I wouldn't. Why not just play him like 15 minutes?
See, I think the biggest issue with this team right now is roster construction, though. Like, yeah, you're missing Jaylen Brown, but we're talking about which center we can play to plug in there, and like we have no bench scoring. We're relying on Jabari Parker to score off the bench. Jabari Parker, who wasn't good enough to make the Sacramento Kings this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics just kind of prove with that sign. It's a little bit of a project, and we've seen like flashes.
I didn't hate the signing.
No,
I really didn't, because what was Wagner going to give you? He struggled with the Orlando Magic. Like, he's better than Wagner. It's still the whole thing of we have to replace Hayward, which is not possible. You can't replace him with the lack of cap space that you have, because the Kemba Walker contract, because of his knee, looks worse and worse. I don't think it's a terrible contract still, but it progressively looks worse.
Right. I mean, it filled a need when we needed it because Kyrie left, and sure, I'll gladly take Kemba. He's a great player, but it seems like this issue from last season with the knee. I mean, I would say it's still lingering.
No, it is. You can tell. Like he's sometimes afraid to drive because of the contact now. Like how many free throws did he have? He took 2 free throws. Like, and again, part of it is because he did get in some foul trouble today. But like he gets beat up defensively because it's kind of the Isaiah Thomas thing again. He's so short that he can't really defend. And it's not his fault. Like, doesn't he lead the league in charges taken? Like, he still can do something even with his height.
Right.
But it's like in the era we live today with this positionless basketball, to have a dude who does he cover? You have to have him cover Joe Harris. And again, it didn't really matter because he got in foul trouble early. But like, is he covering Joe Harris?
It's the one I feel most comfortable with. I mean, I feel like you can keep up with them the best.
Because, like, what? So the starting lineups, whatever. So center covers Blake Griffin, fine. Kyrie's covered by. The thing is, who's covering Harden then? Are we trusting Fournier to cover Harden?
I like Smart on that matchup.
So you say Fournier and Kyrie then?
Yeah, which it's really just kind of like pick your poison. Honestly,
it's like whenever if one's going off, you just switch Smart onto him. But
because Smart historically has played well against Harden, I think he plays him well still, so I would just put him on that matchup.
Just and get the issue then is what happens if Tatum gets in foul trouble this series.
Right.
Like you have the wild card of Game 4 when the Boston crowd rips Kyrie a new one. Like that is a wild card you have to consider. Like you have that bonus when you get a full crowd. Besides that, what else do you have this series?
Would you be open to just emptying out the bench, play all 15 in some capacity?
No. Well, the thing is, like, I think say you get down like 15 in the second quarter, I think you see some Carson just because his shooting ability. But again, he brings up the issue of he can't defend because he's 5'11".
Same with someone like Draymond.
The thing is, I don't like Waters. I think could play because he's pretty good defensively, even at his height. And the thing is, Kyrie's 6'2".
Yep.
The issue is the end of our bench is all defensive only guys. Like you look at Tremont, you look at Romeo, you look at Ojale. They're not going to give you much offensively. And then you have Carson and Cornette, who will give you nothing defensively, maybe something offensive. It's like, also, you got to consider this. And I know we're going to game like 3 now. There is the idea is like, hey, we need a momentum swing. Do you throw Taco in a uniform and throw him in the game and let the crowd go wild?
I would. I mean,
because I remember Brad did that last year against the Spurs. He played Taco in the second quarter. So, like, there is the idea is like, hey, I mean, the only issue there is the Nets don't really drive because they play straight ISO. So it's like, what is Taco going to do? Because offensively, he's a negative. Because he needs the head start to get back defensively.
Right.
It's like,
I wouldn't mind doing that. Just
let him hit Harden a couple times, see how he feels it.
And a random point in the game, like you said, either whether it be in like some point in the second quarter, maybe you just start the second half with them out there, like, oh, what the heck is Taco doing out there?
Yeah,
I mean,
the crowd goes wild,
right?
And then a anti-Kyrie chant starts.
Right.
See, hey, I held back the swear there for you. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, thank you for keeping it family friendly. I don't know. Like, would you consider like a lineup change? Like maybe put in, maybe Neesmith finds his way into the starting 5. I'm trying to think how that would work.
You'd probably move Fournier to the bench and make him the 6th man. Because then, like, the thing is, like, do you trust Smart as the microwave guy off the bench?
Right.
Plus, you need, because the idea is like if you move Smart to the bench, you're now having Fournier and Neesmith covering Kyrie and Harden. Unless you throw Kemba on Harden and hope he draws a charge.
That's a bad match. That would scare me, that match. That would scare me to the end of time. Harden on. Ugh.
That's terrifying, isn't it?
Because, God.
Or actually, this is what the lineup change would be probably. You'd probably put Ojale in for Fournier, and Ojale would just follow Durant around. That would probably be the lineup change if you see any. But also, like, are we at that point? It's been one game, and we're talking about a lineup change. I think that's how little confidence we have in this series.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm hoping for one win.
Oh, yeah. I think that speaks.
To be honest, I wanted to lose the first playing game because I thought at least we can maybe take 2 from Philly.
I mean,
I would have pulled the Clippers and purposely tanked the game.
They probably would have been a better matchup for us, but I don't think the basketball gods always come back if you intentionally lose.
See, this is us being punished for the Paul Pierce trade.
Which is
this is us being punished for the Pierce trade.
I mean, if you want to talk about like underrated bad stuff from Boston sports, I mean, that trade, what did we get? 3 unprotected first rounders, and we got
3 unprotected first rounders. I believe a pick swap because Tatum's a pick swap,
right?
And Gerald Wallace.
We had like 8-year head start against Brooklyn to, you know, if we're just comparing those two teams, to make something happen and make some noise and try and win a title. And Brooklyn, what did you know? I mean, they rebuilt their culture over these years. They found some diamonds in the rough, and they were able to strike gold and getting KD and Kyrie to come. And what do you know? They have a better chance at winning the finals now than we do.
See, the thing is, I always hear this about like how the Celtics are like failing. We're still 3 years ahead, honestly. Like you're talking, we've made 3 of the last 4 conference finals. Tatum's 22 years old. Didn't LeBron not win his first title till 27? And he
27, 28.
And he came a year before Tatum did.
Right.
So everyone says this whole thing about like fire Brad. No, I don't believe that at all. Do you maybe need an assistant coach who can motivate the team more? Yes. Do I think that might be Evan Turner down the road? Yes. The issue is like you hit the salary cap wall a year before other teams did. And then like the Nets is just so lucky where like, hey, you hit gold on Joe Harris, who I think they traded for like a second round pick. The Lakers gave him D'Lo. Like to show like, hey, these other pieces are pretty good. They developed LeVert, they developed Jared Allen, and then they can flip them into James Harden. And you also remember, you also got to remember too, Kyrie was a Nets fan growing up. One of the only actual Nets fans that ever existed. There's not many of them, but Kyrie was one of them. And then he gets KD to follow. So, like, I don't think it's fair to compare him because, like, so say the Nets kept those picks and they were still as terrible as they were, they would not have KD and Kyrie. They wouldn't. They would not have had the cap space for them. So, it's hard to compare. The Nets just struck gold.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah. They were what the Knicks thought they were.
Right.
Like, yeah. So it's like, hey, like that Shamet trade, pretty good. I'm a big Shamet guy. Like Jeff Green, like it's hard to be mad at this team for what they did. Like, hey, it sucks. It's annoying to watch as a Celtics fan. Even if we had Brown, we would lose this game in 6 games, series in 6 games. But it's like when you look at like how they built the team, it's like it is what it is.
No, it's not me being mad at the Nets. I mean, like you said, more power to them. Like, not congrats, but they were just able to rebuild their whole franchise and over time, and it's paying off. It's just kind of frustration at the Celtics organization. I mean, I don't know how much we could have done, but it's like, it's almost like we're trending towards being like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA, where we're just milking the heck out of the fact that we won all these championships way back in the 80s and 90s, and we don't have much to show for it in the 21st century.
The thing is, like, we tried with Kyrie. And I mean, like,
I do that trade 10 out of 10 times.
But Kyrie admitted that his like grandfather or grandmother dying played a role in him leaving. So it's like, okay, what if Kyrie stays, we're in a completely different place. Like, you're talking about pretty much what position would we be in if we kept Rozier over Kemba and use that extra $11 million for whatever. Is Hayward still here? Like, if anything, I think that's the biggest thing. Is the Hayward broken ankle where it just threw off his entire Celtics career? Because, like,
of course, the franchise, too.
Now it's like, hey, like, what are you going to do? Like, would you have paid Hayward that contract? I would not have. I'm a big Hayward guy, but unless you're telling me the last 2 years are not fully guaranteed you can get out of them, I would not give him $30 million to his age 34 season. Like, right. He might be on the bench for Charlotte next year. Like, honestly. Because their lineup is Ball, Rozier. Do you go Bridges, Washington center? Or do you play Hayward and play Washington as like a 6'7" center?
Right.
So, like, you look at that and it's like, hey, we were close to it. Fine. He wanted to be the first option. That's nothing you can be like upset about. And if you had traded him, you would have gotten before, like, he agreed to go to Charlotte. If you trade him in like mid-season, no one would ever come here ever again. I mean, also you look at we still signed Tristan Thompson this offseason. It's not like we can't sign anyone anymore. Hey, I think Smart should be traded after the year. Just because you need to shake something up. You have Tatum, you have Brown, you have Brad as your core. I mean, if the Wizards are willing to talk Beal, you give up Kemba and whoever it takes besides that to get Beal.
I would do that.
But because then the idea, hey, Kemba and the thing is, would you throw Robert Williams in that trade? I want it.
Probably have to.
I would try go Kemba, Pritchard, your choice of Romeo or Jabari Parker, and 3 first rounders.
I mean, I'd love if they take that package. I don't know.
Because there's also the idea hey, do they want Fournier and you would sign and trade with Fournier? But it's you're in the era where no team has cap space besides the Knicks now. No one has cap space. Unless you want to try to go get John Collins. The issue is it's who do you get to fix this? And the only obvious answer I think is Beal, but also the Wizards made the playoffs this year. Would they really trade Beal?
I don't think they will. I mean, they have something to build off of, I think, in DC with Westbrook and Beal, if you ask me.
But they don't have picks now because they traded the pick. I don't think is the Westbrook pick this year or next year?
I forget.
Because do you trust Advia and Rui Hachimura to be important parts of your franchise? Because right now I think they only have Beal and Westbrook. And also, how long is Westbrook going to be serviceable?
A lot of question marks there for sure. Going back to the Celtics, I mean...
we just went on a complete tangent there.
No, it's fine. This can go in any direction. I mean, yeah, there just needs to be some sort of culture change, I think, in Boston. I don't know how you do it, but...
I don't think it's firing Brad either, though.
No, it's really not. It's not his fault that the players don't listen to him. He's a fantastic coach. It's not our fault that the Jays, for whatever reason, don't want to listen to Smart. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but you have to change something because we saw, 2018, 2019 was the last year where we had guys like Marcus Morris and Terry Rozier, who you would see Marcus Morris yelling at Jaylen Brown on the sideline, get your head out of your bleep. I'm not going to swear, but he would just
ass.
There you go. He would say stuff like that, but then they're being too mean to them. So, sorry, they got to go, and we're going to reinvent the culture and just make it nice for the Jays. I mean, you need someone like that, the teams, like a Jay Crowder, like a Morris or whatever. I just think we need to bring someone in like that. I don't know who's an option, but
well, here's the thing: we were still in the conference finals last year, and that's the hardest part for me. Is this is the exact same team that made the conference finals last year. Hayward didn't play in the playoffs.
Well, he was just handicapped.
No, he didn't play till the Heat series. We won the first 2 rounds completely without him. He got hurt game 1 against the Sixers. So it's the exact same thing. And again, I'll say the regular season before Brown got hurt. With Tristan Thompson and Cantor flipped. What happened? It's the exact same team.
It's just this team thinking that the game's going to come to them and they don't have to go to the game. It's ridiculous. And I hope Tatum, because we're going to bow out pretty soon. This is not going to be a pleasant series for Celtics fans. If you
won't see me back on this channel for a while.
No, I mean,
I'm
it's
the
up to you.
Celtics only guy until my $300K check hits the account.
Anyways, the Celtics are going to bow out here pretty soon in the playoffs. I mean, that's a given. If you didn't already know that before the series, then you're just kidding yourself. But
I jokingly wanted to bet on the Celtics sweeping the series and see how much money I would win.
Yeah, that would not have been a smart bet.
I put $5 on it. I didn't get a coffee today. But I didn't.
Fair enough.
It's not legal here. That's totally why I didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I've actually never bet on sports. This is legit, but
Probably have better probability betting on a lottery or buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah, probably.
But I just hope Tatum and Brown just take this off season and just kind of reflect, because I don't
blame Brown. I don't blame Brown whatsoever. I don't even blame Tatum. I really think this is on Danny Ainge more than anyone, because you built a team relying on a 22 and 23-year-old. And hey, I think the Fournier trade was a steal. You gave up 2 second-rounders who will never come to the NBA.
Oh yeah, I mean,
they're Jokic, I think, should win MVP. He's a second-round pick. Who else is a second-round pick who's really done much of anything in the last 10 years?
Clarkson.
We're talking about a 6th man of the year now.
Yeah, I mean,
I
get your point.
Yeah, it's probably going to be an international guy who never comes over. So you get Fournier for practically free. Was
Nurkic a second rounder too?
No, I think he was a late first. I think he was 23, 24. I think he was around the Gobert pick. Same. Nice voice crack, Trevor. Thanks, Joe. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, I just show the comments sometimes when it's something funny.
But no, what is it? Crazy one. Do you try to get Lonzo? Honestly. You get a guy. I think you need a guy who can take the ball out of Tatum, Brown, and Kemba's hands sometimes. Or maybe for the first time, a legitimate point guard off the bench.
That's what we kind of try to do, though. With Kemba, he wouldn't be like a Kyrie and take 30, 20 shots a game. So he could be able to take a back seat and let Tatum and Brown do their thing. So, I mean, is Lonzo really going to be any different?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, in a perfect world, Fournier is off the bench.
I agree.
So Fournier is that 6th man that you need. I don't know. It's just you've almost reached a point where you're in such salary cap hell because you gave, and that includes that you saved money on Brown's contract. You just the way the cap works and the pandemic flattening it. It's what do you do? What do you trade? You probably trade Tristan Thompson to get his $9 million or so back. Besides that, the whole cap is Tatum, Smart, Kemba, Brown. That's the whole cap.
Right.
And Kemba's untradeable.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to move him.
Unless you flip him for Al Horford.
Right. Which doesn't solve anything. And I mean, how much money do we have left on the trade exception? Is it $11 million?
Yeah, because Fournier is 12.
I don't think
Fournier's 18. It was a $29 million. That's $11 million left.
Do you try and? I mean, what can you do with $11 million?
It's the sign and trade for Lonzo's qualifying offer is 11. Because the thing is, there's no one in this free agency really. There's not many people. So your best bet is, hey, you trade a restricted free agent into it, sign him, and then sign Fournier, and that's how you get to whatever. Because you got Fournier's bird rights after this year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Trevor, salary cap expert.
That's something to explore, I guess, with Lonzo. I mean,
the thing is, I would rather have John Collins, but I'll just throw in. I think Lonzo would be easier to get because the Pelicans don't really care for him. But also, you have the idea of teams like the Knicks who would just maybe legitimately give him a max contract. Plus, you have to look at Charlotte. Do they want to sell tickets and put the Ball brothers together and let the next season of Ball in the Family take place in Charlotte?
Right. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how much we can do, but big changes, no, I don't think that'll happen, but something needs to change. You need to fix something because you can't come back with the same exact roster 1-15 after a horrid season like this. And it's not like you can just say, oh, it was an off year like COVID and all that. Yeah, I know we didn't play one game all season with our top 7, but you have to change something because it's not like this team was destined from the beginning, like, oh, we're going to be 500. Like, no, like we easily could have been.
We thought we were going to be the 3 or 4 seed. And
absolutely.
Like, hey, you didn't think Philly was going to be as good as they were. No one did, and if you did, you were lying to yourself. The Knicks and Hawks showed up like no one expected as well.
Right.
The thing is, you almost need to take a page out of the Knicks book of get guys who just grind. Like, honestly, like, I've always said this, the biggest need of the Celtics team is a stretch 5. They desperately need a stretch 5 that they've never been able to find. Part of me was like almost hoping, like, hey, do you purposely tank and hope with your 4% lottery chance you can get Mobley so you get your stretch 5 you've needed? And I mean, like, hey, there's a chance the Golden State might consider trading Wiseman.
Would you trade Smart for Wiseman? Like they thought
100%. I'll even throw, like, I mean, I'd send Grant Williams to the Sun if I could, but throw Grant Williams in that trade too. And it's like, it's more like if Grant was 2 inches taller, I don't think I'd have as much of a problem with him. It just, who does he defend? And he doesn't give you enough offensively to make up for the fact that he can't cover anyone defensively because he's built like a center, but is the body of a small forward. Arguably shooting guard in today's NBA.
Right. I mean...
But no, I would love Wiseman because he can stretch the floor. Like, I mean, if Nikola Mirotic wants to come back to the NBA from Real Madrid, I'll gladly pay him as much as he wants. We just need someone who's tall that can stand in the corner.
Right. And Wiseman could definitely be that person. Yeah, so I guess we'll close it out a little bit here. So Celtics end up losing.
I know we didn't mention the score once, I don't think.
Yeah, we went on a few tangents, but Nets run away with it in the second half. Celtics end up losing game 1, 104-93. The three-headed monster on the Nets ended up getting going in that second half. Celtics can't do anything about it. And that's how we do it. Down 1-0, not too much faith in the series, but it'd be great if we could take a game. So we'll see what happens. Any other points you want to bring up?
No, I'm good. Good. I'm holding a string.
Excellent.
Dave's like, why did I let you on this? I don't know why I ever asked you to be on this.
No, I mean...
And I didn't even throw it. This is just me being myself. I could have just thrown this whole thing.
Right.
And I didn't. I kept the cursing to a minimum.
Excellent. Yep.
Yeah. I brought a lot, and we talked about the game for only 20 minutes and about the offseason for 20 minutes, which I think truly says how much faith we have in this series, that we were talking about the offseason already when we had to watch at least 3 more of these games.
Just how that season's been for Celtics fans. Our offseason is going to be like our NBA playoffs excitement, just waiting to see what the team does.
I'm just disappointed we don't have a lottery pick this year, so I don't have excitement of watching the draft lottery this year.
Oh, yeah, very, very riveting.
I loved watching the lottery.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when your team's like in the conference finals and still gets the number 1 pick. I miss those days.
Right. Those were the glory days. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Celtics recap. We went into detail not only about the offseason, but a little bit about game 1. These conversations just take themselves in any direction. But let me just remind everyone to absorb that like button, absorb that subscribe button.
You don't say that still, do you?
Yeah, I still...
You don't say that. Do you say I'll soak you later at the end still too?
No, I knew you were... No, not fully rebranded yet from In Depth with David. Got to embrace some of the old days, but make sure you absorb that.
You deleted all the old videos.
They're private, so no one else can see them. Just me. Yeah, I know you guys get kicked out of that stuff, but
this is NHL 12 because I don't have enough money to buy NHL 13 yet.
So that is going to do it. Absorb that like button, absorb that subscribe button. Let me just remind everyone.
I smashed the dislike button.
Thank you, Joe. Sorry to hear that. We will have Red Sox recaps coming. I'm going to be having one coming in a couple hours with Ricky, where we're going to be recapping the last 2 series because we missed one. So we will be talking about not only the Blue Jays, but also the Phillies. We will have another.
Cordero is bad at baseball. You should mention that.
Hit one 474.
Yeah, it's first time he's made contact all year. You should add partial Red Sox recap the title of this video now.
And we will have more Celtics recaps coming if Trevor wants to come back.
Yeah, I said I'll do them.
Yeah,
fine.
We'll have you back after some point in Game 2. I will also have a Bruins recap coming later tonight with my cousin Brian, where we recap the Bruins 4-game series victory. I'll just say against the
gentleman's sweep. It's a gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep against the Washington Capitals. Yes. So look out for that in the evening. And I will have Patriots recaps once the season resumes in the fall. I will have reality TV show recaps coming in the summer and the fall also, when my two favorite shows in Survivor and Big Brother come back. And I also have personal interviews coming with my good friend Andrew from college. We're going to be interviewing some people on an occasional basis and just getting to know them on a personal level. So look out for all this new content coming on the channel as the summer progresses. That is going to do it for me.
I bet Joe's ecstatic for all that content.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Trevor, for joining me. And we will talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.